Hi everyone, I hope you're all alright. Welcome back to another video. So today's video is one that was requested, and this video is how IVF has changed me. So for those of you that are new, I am soon embarking on my third cycle of IVF. We have been trying to conceive now for over 6 years, so it's fair to say that infertility has changed me in a lot of ways. So I thought it would be quite interesting. I thought it was a really good idea to do this video and to sit down and talk about the ways that IVF has changed me. I think if I look back now to the person that I was just under 3 years ago when I was first diagnosed as infertile, I feel like I was a totally different person. Like, I don't feel like I would recognize myself anymore. I quite often, when I'm feeling a bit sentimental and when I'm feeling a bit emotional, will sit with Marco and look back at our wedding. We got married in April 2018, and I sometimes really miss the person that I was then and how innocent and somewhat naive I was to what was ahead. And we were talking last night, and in our wedding speech, I will at some point dig out our wedding video and kind of incorporate into a bit of a vlog, but there was part of our speech where part of Marco's speech where he was talking about how much I do for us in the relationship, and one of those things was booking doctor's appointments and so on and so forth. And at that point, nobody in that room except me knew what he meant by booking doctor's appointments. And it is mad to think that from then to where we are now, like everything that has happened in between, and how, I don't know, just how different things were then, and how I never expected to end up being on this journey. So yeah, I look back over the last 3 years and I find it quite difficult to talk about how IVF has changed me sometimes, because I think there are ways in which it has changed me and changed my life that I wish it hadn't, for a multitude of reasons. So I thought we'd sit down and just kind of go over these today. If there's any ways in which you think IVF has changed you, by all means leave them in the comments. I'd be really interested to see how it's changed you and how it's changed your life. So get yourself all comfy, and I think this is going to be a really interesting discussion. I wouldn't necessarily say that every way in which IVF has changed me has been a positive change. I think there's definitely been some negatives. So this is certainly a mixed bag. But the very first thing I will say is that I think IVF has changed me in terms of strength and patience. So I'm not going to do this video like a big list. I'm just kind of going to talk about it, because I don't think it's something that you can itemize per se. But when it comes to strength and patience, I have never been a patient person. Like Marco will tell you, I am the most impatient person going. I'm not very good with surprises. I don't like not knowing what's going on. I like being in full control at all times. If I know that something, I am my own worst enemy in many ways, and I think that if I know that there is a surprise or somebody is planning something behind my back, I will do everything in my power to find out what that is. As soon as I've found out, I hate myself for it. But I don't, like I say, I don't like not being in control. I don't like surprises, but IVF has kind of changed that. Like, I do quite like surprises. IVF kind of takes away every element of surprise when it comes to things like finding out you're pregnant. Like, I'm never going to have that moment where I wake up one morning and I think I'm going to take a pregnancy test because I'm late on my period, and getting to surprise Marco. Like, I always had this vision of doing a pregnancy test and not telling him at all, and ordering a newborn football kit, Chelsea football kit with obviously like baby Izzo or something like that on the back, and giving that to him. Like, that was always how I had envisioned it in my head. And obviously that's not going to happen now. So I do think IVF has somewhat taught me how to be so much more patient, because there isn't anything that I can do about it. I can't control this, and I have no choice but to be patient. So it's definitely taught me that. And usually I would be sat here getting really annoyed that I have to wait until towards the end of the year to start our treatment, whereas now I'm actually quite, you know, time goes quite quickly and it gives me all this time to prepare, and it's just changed my outlook in that way. So patience is a huge thing. On top of that, like I say, with the strength, I think you really surprise yourself at how strong you are. Like after I got my diagnosis, I never thought I'd get through that, and I would look at my life and look at how much, like, it sounds awful and, you know, it's a really difficult thing to talk about, but me saying that I was suicidal when I was diagnosed isn't untrue at all. And the 6 months immediately after that were the worst 6 months of my life, and in all honesty they're now a bit of a blur. But it's taught me just how much I can endure and how much I can get through, and so now I don't think the little things bother me as much as they used to do, because I think I've got through worse than this, so I can get through this. And I think that's a really good thing. I think that's definitely changed me for the better. I'm much more patient, I'm much stronger, I am much more strong-willed. Like, I've always been strong-willed and determined and everything else, whereas now I feel like I allow myself to trust the process a little bit more than beforehand. I feel like that element of control, like I've almost handed a little bit of that over to whoever, let's say the universe, but I feel like I've handed that over, and so I'm not perhaps as much of a controlling person as I was before. Not that I'm like a really controlling person, like you know, that sounds really awful, but you know what I mean. I think it's definitely helped me on that front. I think as well, just going back to like the patience and things like that, like it's changed me in that sense, because I always think about the actual pregnancy itself, so if and when this ever works, and we always said that we'd find out what we were having easy, and I would decorate the room and buy everything that I needed, and the idea of not knowing the gender of my child always kind of, I was like, no, why would you not want to know? And I could never understand people that didn't want to know. Whereas now, there is no way on this earth that I will be finding out what I have if it works. I have no interest in finding out the gender or doing any kind of gender reveal. I want everything to be a surprise, and I want to be able to have that. Like, so for me, like I say, that was all a very much a control thing. Like, I wanted to know what I was having so that I could control everything and make sure that we had everything. Whereas now I'm so like, nah, I don't want to know. I don't want to know. And yeah, so I think it's changed me for the better in terms of patience. Definitely. Another way I think it's changed me is that I think it's actually made me more selfish, which sounds like a negative, but I honestly think it is a positive. I am somebody who has been, or allowed people to walk all over me quite a lot over the years. I've spoken quite openly about the fact that I lost my best friend in the midst of all this, in the sense that it made me see some true colours that I didn't like, and I think IVF does that. But in more than one case, I think it has changed me in the sense that I know what's important to me, and I know who has been there for me and who hasn't been there for me. And people who don't go through infertility and don't go through IVF, and I don't think they will ever quite understand how traumatic it actually is and how much of a grieving process it is. So I think it's quite hard for people to understand how much you need them. But for me, I think the people that really have been there are the people I need in my life, and the people who have made that effort to understand, and the people who have sat there and gone, do you know what? I don't understand, but I can see how much this is affecting you, and that affects me. They are the people that I want in my life. So it has made me more selfish in the sense that I am not about people who waste my time anymore. I am not here for people who don't give me what I give them. I am not here for relationships that are completely imbalanced and have such an unequal relationship. Like, I'm not about that at all anymore. I know when to draw the line. I won't let myself be made a mug of. I won't let people walk all over me. I know what I need. I know now what I look for in a friend, and I think I won't sit here and make all the time in the world for people who weren't there for me when I hit rock bottom. So it's definitely changed me in that sense, that I am more selfish in terms of I know when to take time for me. I know what I want and what I need. I know what my needs are. I know how my needs need to be met. There's a lot of the word need going on here. I have a much clearer view of what is important. So it's made me more selfish in the sense that I haven't got time for anything that doesn't bring me joy. Like I think I am quite a selfless person most of the time, and I think I do an awful lot in my life for other people, and I hate saying no. And I like to do good things for other people. I like to be there for other people. I like to be the person that other people lean on, and I like to be a support system for people. And I think I'm quite a generous person, and that hasn't changed, but I think now I don't feel so guilty saying no, and I feel like I have really grown in that sense because I know what I need, and I know that I need to look after myself. So in that sense, it's definitely changed me in a good way. IVF has also changed me in different ways, kind of indirectly. Like, for example, pre-IVF and pre-infertility, I don't think I would have ever sat in front of a camera and done something like this. And as much as I always kind of wanted to start a blog, and kind of writing was always something I really enjoyed, I never really felt like I had a reason to do it, and I feel like I have always been very self-conscious of what other people think. Whereas again, just kind of leading on from the selfish thing, I feel like now I care less about what people think because I have made that decision to put so much of my life out there. I say so much of my life, I feel like I have kept an awful lot reserved and off screen and off, you know, off Instagram, like my family, things like that. I don't really talk about all that much. So I think I've managed to keep an element of my privacy while still being able to do this. And I feel like beforehand, I would have never done this. I would never have had the confidence to do this. And yet IVF and infertility pushed me to a point where I was like, okay, I need to do something to help myself here, and in doing that I want to help other people who feel like I do. So it's definitely changed me in terms of confidence. Like, I definitely feel a lot more confident and very much like, I don't give a monkey's what anybody else thinks about me. I'm gonna go and do this, and I'm gonna do this for a good reason. In that process, you know, I started the campaign, I started the Fight for IVF campaign, and I started my own fertility company, all things that beforehand I don't think I'd have ever had the self-confidence to do. So it's definitely helped me in that sense indirectly. I think another way in which it's changed me is that I think IVF and infertility has actually made me kinder. I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't think I've ever been a bad person, but I think I have in the past been somebody who kind of thrives off a bit of drama and a bit of gossip and things like that. And I don't think I've ever been a nasty person, but I think there are times where I could have been kinder. Whereas I think with IVF and infertility, it has kind of dragged me through the mill, and it has really opened my eyes to the fact that you never know what somebody else is going through. And I remember those few months where I really was at rock bottom, and I was going into work and I was not a nice person to be around. Like, I was so snappy, I was so upset all of the time, I wasn't making an effort, and this, that and the other. And I know that had I been somebody else, I'd have been looking at them like, Jesus Christ, what is their problem? So now I think it's really opened my eyes to the fact that you never know what another person is going through, and that, you know, when you don't understand something, when you've not been through something that somebody else is going through, you have no place to judge, and you have no right to tell them how they should feel. And when they are going through that, trying to be positive and saying to them, oh, you know, but at least this or at least that, is actually quite toxic. So I think it's really taught me about my relationships with other people, and it's completely changed the way that I address other people in a good way. And I really do think it has made me a much kinder, much more tolerant person than I was before. On top of that, I also think it's made me appreciate things so much more. It's made me appreciate my friends, my family, my life, and in general just made me a bit more grateful for the things that I do have rather than the things that I don't have. And I've almost stopped wishing my life away a little bit, because I would always sit here and go, I can't wait until this and I can't wait until that. And like in this case, I can't wait till I have kids. And I've spent the last 3 years just kind of wishing time away to the next cycle of IVF and just hoping that it works. And in that time, I haven't really enjoyed my life. I mean, don't get me wrong, lockdown hasn't helped, but I am now approaching 27, and I think the last 7 years should have been like the best 7 years of my life. Like, your 20s are supposed to be a time when you're having fun and you are meeting people and settling down and starting your family, and the last few years for me haven't been the way that I planned, which is a really big thing for me because I like to plan my life. Whereas it's kind of taught me to let go of that plan and accept that not everything happens the way that you want it to, and to stop wishing my life away, because it may not end up the way that I want it to end up. And so I may as well just enjoy what I have now and do it positively and just love what I have. And I'm definitely learning to do that a lot more than before. Another way it's changed me is that I'm so much better with money. I have always loved to spend money. Money has always burnt a hole in my pocket, and yet IVF has made me save, and I am now literally doing everything I can to save money. I am not bothered about going out and buying this and buying that and buying this and buying that, and there have been things that I really could do with and I'm like, nah, don't bother about it. Like post-lockdown, I won't be getting my nails done again, and quite frankly, I'm not bothered. I'm gonna have to stop getting my eyebrows done, and again, quite frankly, I'm not bothered. Cheaper makeup, things like that, that really, I will spend money where I need to spend money, and I'm not going to completely deprive myself, but it has made me value money so much more and think, actually, that saving for a rainy day that my dad's been telling me to do since I've popped out the womb probably wasn't a bad idea, and dad was actually right. So yeah, I think it's definitely made me grow up in many ways, many ways. The only other thing I would say, which perhaps isn't the best of ways it's changed me, is that it's definitely impacted my mental health. I think I've always been quite an emotional person. There are things that have happened throughout my life that I perhaps haven't dealt with in the best of ways, and there are things that have happened that I think now, when my mental health has dipped and I've been trying to deal with that, have kind of come up to surface. So I think it's definitely made me a much more emotional person. I'm very aware of my mental health now. I think when you have that dip and you reach a point where you don't want to be alive, and the process of your deterioration, you become very aware of the signs. And I think now I know more than ever when I'm struggling, and I know when to ask for help, and I know when to talk, which I've always been a big talker. I can talk for England, but asking for help is something I've never really done when it comes to mental health. And I think now, if I get to a point where I'm struggling, or something that happened 10 years ago is bothering me, I will talk to Marco about it and I will bring it up. And if I'm getting to a point where I'm finding things too hard, or the effects of IVF are bothering me, I do talk about it, and I don't care who I talk about it to. Like, I will bring it up and I will let that out. So that is a positive thing, because it's definitely helped me in terms of communication and making sure that I vocalize my needs. But it is quite sad how much of an impact it's had on my mental health, and how I feel like it has made me a much more emotionally unstable person than I was before. And as much as it's made me stronger, I think it's definitely highlighted things that I need to deal with internally. As there are certain things, for example, like there's certain parts of motherhood that terrify me because of things that I've not dealt with, and I think I need to do that. And it makes me, but I wouldn't know that these things were so prevalent had it not been for IVF and infertility. So I think it's definitely changed me for the better. I feel like this video was a bit of a waffly video, so I'm really sorry if it was, and if it's not made any sense at all. But I feel like I just needed to vocalize that rather than do it as a list, because I don't think it would have worked as well. Like, I feel like one thing leads on to another, and that's just the way my brain works. But I do hope you enjoyed this video. This video probably will be the last sit down video I do for a little while. I really do enjoy doing them, but I feel like I'm exhausting all the topics kind of immediately. So I think I might do a few like vlog type videos over the next few weeks. The renovation work starts in a few weeks. I think that's about 3 weeks now, 2 or 3 weeks. No, maybe a bit longer than that. Middle of March it starts anyway, so there's going to be some exciting content coming up. I've also got a video with Marco in a few weeks, which I'm really looking forward to filming, so that will probably be my next sit down video, but we'll see. But I'm going to go downstairs now. We've got a Chinese on order, which I'm really excited about. Chinese just seems to be our go-to thing at the minute. Like, every Saturday we're having a Chinese. We've found a new takeaway, and they are literally so good. So I have got my prawn balls on order. Ant and Dec's Saturday night takeaway comes back tonight. I mean, hun, I don't care. I love Ant and Dec. I love Ant and Dec, and I love Ant and Dec's Saturday night takeaway. Like, Saturday night takeaway is elite. It is the top of the Saturday night TV programs. I love Saturday night TV. I am that person. I love it. I don't care. I love trash TV. Sorry. Proper little English rose me. So I hope you've all had a lovely Sunday. Did you watch Ant and Dec? If you did, tell me in the comments what you thought, and then I know you watched the whole way through too. But I hope you're all alright. If there are any videos you would like to see, any topics for like sit down videos or anything like that, oh, fireworks are going off, anyone would think it was November, do let me know. I always like knowing what you want to see. But I hope you have a fantastic week, and I will see you on Sunday same time next week. And yeah, thanks for watching. Bye. Fireworks, see me out.